Alright, it's time for a posers video. Now this video is specifically going to focus on what's called mall goths and Nu-goth slash pastel-goth. Now, mall goths, this term can change depending on who you ask. But the use of the term that I'm most familiar with, the one that I think is probably closest to the truth, is a mall goth is a person who only dresses up in the goth fashion whilst going to the mall or a movie or some other place in public. That is the basic definition of it. Now, typically these people, they don't listen to music, they're not part of the scene whatsoever, they're just dressing up like goths to go out in public, get attention in public, and some of them do this with a not so nice idea in mind. They intend on going out to make fun of themselves, in short, to make fun of goths. Basically, they go out and they act like complete fucking idiots, punching walls, swearing really loudly, yelling at little children in goth clothing in an attempt to make goths look bad. Unfortunately, these people tend to get a lot of attention. So, thus, people who don't know what goths actually are like tend to believe that, oh, that mall goth is what an actual goth is actually like. When, no, sorry, that wasn't actually a goth, that was just a kid dressed up like a goth in an attempt to make fun of us. Unfortunately, this is actually pretty freaking common. Another way I've heard mall goth get used is people who aren't goth, but commonly get called goth. So basically, you know how with like the Columbine killers, everyone's like, they're goths. They're goths. No, those kids were not goths. At all. They just wore black t-shirts. Not goth. So that would be an example of the term mall goth applied as in meaning a person who gets called goth but is not goth. And typically a mall goth is a small, younger person, like 14, 13, you know, young. Not to be confused with a babyback. Babyback is an actual goth who is just very, very new to goth, who doesn't really know what they're doing very much, and doesn't really wear the best makeup, maybe doesn't listen to a lot of goth artists, etc. Really new to the scene. A mall goth is not a goth. A babyback is a goth. Difference. But they're both young. That's the only similarity they have. And sometimes clothing. iPod being weird. And then Nu-goth slash pastel-goth. It has been called by both names. This is basically hipsters attempting to look dark. They've taken some gothy items and incorporated it into their hipster look. So, basically, these people have gothy elements to them. This is why all of a sudden skulls and crosses on black knitted sweaters has become super popular. It's because of this new goth hipster thing. It's because they're wearing it, and so bang, it's everywhere now. It's in all the stores that sell the preppy hipster stuff, because guess what? The hipsters like it. Now, this does have a positive for the actual goths. It means we can buy our black sweaters with skulls and bats on them now, easily in stores. Only problem is it also means all the non-goths, you know, Nu-goth hipsters, are also wearing them. Annoyingly. But yeah, that was ours first. That's ours first. And then also, the other name for it is pastel-goth. And funny thing is, this gets a lot of hatred, because there's a lot of people out there saying, no, pastel-goth is a version of goth. No, pastel-goth is the exact same thing as Nu-goth, just with more pastel colors. It is exactly the same thing, just with, like, pastel hair. What you're looking for is bubblegum goth. Bubblegum goth is a style of goth that uses pastel colors. Basically, pastel goth is hipster mixed with bubblegum goth. Meanwhile, normal Nu-goth is like trad goth mixed with hipster. That's basically what it is. But Nu-goth and pastel-goth are pretty much the same thing, and they are not goth at all. If you think pastel-goth is goth, I'm sorry, you're thinking of bubblegum goth, which looks freakishly similar, actually. Like, pastel-goth did not change a hell of a lot. They just threw in a bunch of hipster stuff, they removed the music, they removed our dancing, they removed our subculture, basically. But yeah, pastel-goth isn't goth. Bubblegum goth is goth. So yeah, there you go.